one that blows the world away. Build a rocket that'll come and take away us all. Gonna come back, I am coming back in a day. Build a weapon that'll turn us into newborns again. Build a weapon, one that blows the world away. Build a rocket that'll come and take away us all. Gonna come back, I am coming back in a day. Build a weapon that'll turn us into newborns again. that blows the world away. Build a rocket that'll come and take away us all. Gonna come back, I am coming back in a day. Build a weapon that'll turn us into newborns again. Build a weapon, one that blows the world away. Build a rocket that'll come and take away us all. Gonna come back, I am coming back in a day. Build a weapon that'll turn us into.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Maui. We're delighted to have you here. And I'm Penny Baldwin, the Chief Marketing Officer of Qualcomm. This is my inaugural Tech Summit event. But my colleague and partner in crime, Don McGuire, is a seasoned veteran, having attended all three Tech Summit events since its inception. We hope that you find this to be a really robust, substantive, jam-packed event over the course of the next few days.
Absolutely. This is going to be a great event for everybody. Welcome back to our esteemed guests, over 330 of you, media, industry analysts from around the world, as well as the many, many, many people watching on the live stream. Again, welcome to Maui. Over the next 3 days, we are excited to share with you the here and now, making the impossible possible, and what's coming next.
Over the next few days, we hope that you'll come away with a number of key takeaways. A new decade of wireless is here now, made possible by real 5G from Qualcomm, the company that invents breakthrough technologies that transform how the world connects, communicates, and computes. And at the very, very core of this technology breakthrough is our newest Snapdragon processor. Initially launched in 2007, this product has grown only more powerful and preferred year after year. In fact, according to our research, we know that consumer preference for this product, for this brand, has increased threefold in the last 5 years, which is an example of Qualcomm's constant and chronic commitment to innovation and execution.
Well, that's no surprise to me, running product marketing. Snapdragon did power the first Android device back in 2007. And today, our tiny little dragon powers over 1 billion smartphones worldwide. Snapdragon platforms allow people to do more than ever they thought possible with a mobile device. And more importantly for the ecosystem, Snapdragon enables our partners to deliver experiences that defy convention, delight consumers, and define the industry. All rooted in high-performance, low-power computing and lightning-fast connectivity.
And by no means is that easy to achieve. Continuously busting through this complexity has been essential since we depend on our phones and Snapdragon to access the vital mobile services that have become integral to our everyday lives.
And our little dragon is now breathing fire well beyond the smartphone, providing incredible experiences from on your wrist to in your car. Just as Snapdragon revolutionized the mobile industry, it is transforming new industries like automotive, manufacturing, wearables, and healthcare. We firmly believe over the next decade will be more and more defined by Snapdragon.
And as Snapdragon has spread its wings, we've made sure that the brand essence aligns with the demands of a new generation of users who require next-level experiences. These consumers have a strong desire to forge their own path, to be original, to be first. They need technology to be leading edge, to deliver what they want, where they want it, and how they want it. I'm excited to share with you how we plan to continue to connect Snapdragon to this new generation. To assist our partners in messaging the benefits of this platform and to define what's next. Let's take a look at the key insights that we've tapped into in order to make that possible. And again, on behalf of both Don and I, thank you so much for being here. We hope you have a wonderful event.
Enjoy.
people don't understand you. That's fine by you. All that matters is your dream. So you get to work. You never stop for anything or anyone. Now the naysayers flock. But it's you, unafraid to be first. First to connect your phone to the internet and access more information than ever. And that unflinching desire to be first continues. First to blaze ahead at extraordinary speeds. First to capture and share in 1 billion shades of color. First to take advantage of AI that lives on your phone. First to visit new worlds thanks to immersive XR experiences right on your mobile device, or conquer massive multiplayer worlds with next-level mobile gaming. First to take our dream and use it to help realize yours. Introducing the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 mobile platform series, designed for you to conquer your firsts.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the president of Qualcomm Incorporated, Cristiano Amon.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with Maui. I think we've been on a very long journey. We're now, and you're going to hear that throughout the day, we're months away from launching 5G, and we're very excited to be able to host this event. It's also a great responsibility from Qualcomm, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege that motivates us to be focused on how we can, create new technologies, create standards, and drive the industry forward, because we have a big responsibility to many of our partners that are honoring us with their presence today. Thank you again for coming. And as I believe it was Don said before, this is going to be webcast live as well. So really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about what we're doing today. We have a lot of exciting things to cover. So a new technology phase has begun. We're now at this part of this industry that it happens every decade in the wireless industry, that we're transitioning to the next generation of wireless. And this new technology phase has the promise of connect billions of devices and objects. They will become not only connected, but they will become smarter. So that will require advancements in connectivity, ongoing advancements in connectivity. As a company, we always bet on advancements in connectivity. But also ongoing advancements on processing, machine learning, and sensors. And what this new phase promised the industry is to really redefine, in a connected, in a smart world, how do we work, live, and connect with one another. It's going to drive a lot of innovation across multiple industries, not only the wireless industry anymore. It will expand wireless in all of the other ecosystems and fundamentally change how people do business. It's easy for us to go back about more than a decade ago and look at 4G, when we're especially at this stage of the industry thinking about bringing 4G. And we look forward, how did 4G change everything about the industry and everything about what we do? Everything we can do with those smartphones we have with us right now. It is not going to be that different with 5G. And that's why there's so much momentum, because it will really change the industry. And yes, it's also likely to change the competitive landscape as we look at the possibilities with 5G. Now, one important message is this transition is different than the transition that we had with 3G and 4G. This will be much bigger. I like to provide an example when we look in the days of digital cellular. And a company like Qualcomm, an infrastructure vendor, an operator, a handset OEM, and the regulator, that was the industry. That was the entire industry. When we look at 5G, it's basically every other industry now understands how that technology will modify their business. So this is why 5G is one of the most significant transitions we'll have. We'll drive a whole new cycle of innovation. will catalyze the development of new devices and device categories beyond the smartphone. And that's going to go across not only the consumer and the enterprise, but also multiple industrial segments. New services, new business model that will reshape industries and will fuel the creation of new industries, some yet to be imagined, with the potential of the technology. And we expect, as this technology gets deployed, will enrich everyone's lives. So again, this is exciting time because this has, we're right months away, and it has the potential to be one of the largest industry transitions we had in wireless. And before we start the day today, we'll start with a very special guest, especially because this amazing place that we are and something very unique we're doing here and we'll talk more about during the day. So to get us, starting today, I would like to welcome to stage the Governor of Hawaii, the Honorable David Ige. Please thank you, David.
Thank you so much, Cristiano, for that warm introduction. And thank you all for having me a part of the celebration today. I wanted to welcome all of you to the great state of Hawaii. As you know, Hawaii is a destination for millions of people each and every year from countries around the world. They come here for school, they come here for weddings, honeymoons, and memorable vacations and events just like this one, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Before they leave home and after they arrive, our visitors rely on their smartphones to research, explore, and learn more about the unique spaces and experiences that are available here in the islands. And we are seeing a transformation of the visitors from packaged, structured tours to the independent traveler who really, on the spur of the moment, wants to find out about that hiking trail or that special restaurant that truly provides them a unique experience. We do know that the next generation of wireless, the 5G, will make a tremendous impact on the islands. It's amazing what smartphone apps are able to do to improve the experience of the visitors and guests that we welcome to our islands. And we do know that it impacts and improves our economy because of all of the business opportunities that become available. This week, you will be looking toward the future as Qualcomm introduces their next generation processor. As someone who began my career as an engineer in the tech community and the telecom industry, I'm really excited about the promise of breakthrough technologies for Hawaii. I know that Qualcomm has been at the forefront of innovation, and I'm excited to see what they have next for the future of 5G-powered future. I believe that 5G will accelerate the benefits of the mobile industry. 5G promises to impact many industries, growing the economic benefit beyond just the smartphone. It will impact on smart agriculture. It'll impact on conservation and preservation of our environment. It will mean more autonomous driving in vehicles. It will mean acceleration of artificial intelligence and machine learning. The impact of 5G networks will be expansive and impact each and every component of life here in the islands. As governor, I committed to 100% renewable electricity 2045, and 5G will help us achieve that measure. We are committed to autonomous vehicles and becoming a test bed so that we have a closed system here. We can enable different test beds and opportunities to test these technologies. Most importantly, the rate at which our residents adopt the newest technologies is faster than in other communities. You know, as a state made up of islands, we see tremendous impact on 5G in rural communities, especially for telehealth and telemedicine, allowing us to deliver the best quality healthcare to each and every community. And we know that it will have tremendous impact in education. You know, my passion has been our public education system and teaching our children to be innovative with technologies like 5G will be critical for their future success and the future success of these islands. You know, I'm very supportive of science, technology, engineering, and math education in our schools, and have been an advocate for growing Hawaii's technology sector and infrastructure so that we truly can become a paradise for technology. We want to give and ensure that our children have every opportunity to be successful in the 21st century. So as 4G has been important to the islands, I know that 5G will be even more important. I want to once again welcome you and wish you a fantastic week here in the islands, learning about the next generation of the future. Aloha and mahalo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Governor. There is no better place to have this event than this fantastic island of Maui, and I think that's this excitement that we have today for 5G, and it's a big, I think, not only event for Qualcomm, I think it's a big event for Hawaii as well. And with that, we're going to get started talking about how 5G will really bring a new era of wireless communications. The first step, and yes, we're going to start with that, is upgrading smartphones, and we'll be vastly improving cellular user experiences, how we think about smartphones in the services that we rely every day, how they will become way faster and way more responsive, like you have wireless fiber with you. But we'll also change a lot of the wireless use case. For example, how you think about the connected enterprise. That is the reason that Qualcomm, and stay tuned because we're going to have interesting announcements to make in the coming days. But that's why Qualcomm is really embrace the expansion to the always connected PC, because we know what the end game is. It will be a 5G connected PC. But the next big step is bringing wireless to devices and services that have been wired today or not connected at all. And that is the reason we think of 5G as basic infrastructure. And that's why this comment that we've been using in the beginning of this journey about the role of 5G similar to electricity is because that's how we'll think about connectivity. It will be such a basic infrastructure for the society that will connect everything around us. But 5G is here, and isn't that far off. That's the reason to have this event. I think what's so special about this event is when I say 5G is here, it means also here in the hotel. Our friends of AT&T and Verizon have brought in live 5G networks. And we believe that we're now in this final stage that will give us confidence that in the next few months, we'll be able to see 5G flagship smartphones that people will be able to buy. This will lay the foundation from smartphones and then later to cars and virtually every electronic device that will be connected. And that very first step is just now, getting to us in the first half of 2019. It's really exciting to see the 5G so near, especially when, you hear all those comments about the hype in 5G. That's why we're so excited to have a 5G from not one, but two of the leading carriers here in the hotel, so we can do a lot of demonstrations. So with that, I will deliver on the promise that we made in Hong Kong. Anand, could you please come in? This is our 5G reference design. When we had our 4G, 5G Summit in Hong Kong, we talked about having our mobile test platform supporting all the pilots in the drive tests, and we announced at that time a Qualcomm reference design, which is a smartphone form factor carrying full capabilities of 5G, including millimeter wave. In this smartphone right now, it's working with the new Snapdragon that we will announce it today in the live 5G network of our partners, AT&T and Verizon, in the show. And it took a lot of work to get to this 5G icon you can see on the very top. That is the real 5G icon, and that's how we're going to get users to starting to identify they're going to be on a 5G network. And so we're very happy. There's a lot of work to get to this point, but it gives us confidence that we're really months away from commercializing this technology. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to hear much about it today. I encourage you to spend time, also looking at the demos, and we want to see how it becomes a reality outside this room. We have a lot of work done over a number of years, and I'll recap that to you today to get to this point and show a real phone on a real smartphone form factor with millimeter wave antenna working. Some people spend a lot of time to do billboards in airports about 5G. We thought we'd do better by showing a QRD with a real 5G network. Here's at this event. It's incredible that this is also different than what we had in the past for 4G. And I want to spend time explaining this. In 4G, when we started with the technology, the United States started building 4G, but only later we saw some other geographies and continents. This is different this time. We're starting to see activity on 5G at the same time across all the important and developed economies. And I will start, of course, with North America. In the United States, operators are quickly building 5G coverage, moving towards launch in 2019, utilizing both sub-6 gigahertz and millimeter wave. It will provide an array of 5G services and experiences, and you'll see some of the examples here at the event. You can see for some of the carriers' quotes and commitments that you will see a number of cities launching with 5G in 2019. But then, when you think about the other geographies, this is now not only in the United States. There's now no lag in 5G coming to Europe. And in Europe, what started as just in the beginning, maybe because of some of the skeptics, as just a sub-6 5G, now we're seeing sub-6 in millimeter wave, how 5G was designed to operate across a number of operators. And we have commitments from operators, and you hear about them today, talking about how to bring 5G to a number of markets and cities in 2019. And we keep going. The next big one is China. And we saw the transformation that 4G did in the China market. And in China, it's the same scale that we see now moving with 5G with the pre-commercial launch in 2019 across all the three operators. In the interesting portion of the China 5G launch, it's starting with sub-6, but they are now evaluating and doing trials of millimeter wave as well. One thing I like particularly about the China transition is if you look at the spectrum allocation, the world's largest operator in the world, China Mobile, and they are having an event this week. Stay tuned for more news on 5G on China. But what is unique is in order to get the full potential of the 5G spectrum, they have to reduce their 4G spectrum by at least 30%. That gives all of us in the industry a very clear indication of how fast the migration is going to be from 4G smartphones to 5G smartphones. Then we go from there to South Korea. All three operators, SKT, KT, and LGU+, are being building coverage. And there is, in a surprise development, all the three operators launched the 3GPP compliant 5G mobile service on December 1st, which is being referred to as the Korea 5G Day. That was originally planned for March 2019. It's beginning with data devices, but in the second quarter 2019, we'll start to see smartphones. Millimeter wave will come in the second half 2019. And then we go from there from Korea to Japan. And Japan also looking into launching pre-commercial services in the second half 2019, auctioning 5G spectrum right now in the beginning of 2019. And we see that also in Southeast Asia and Australia. So here's the final message. 5G is so important that the entire industry is moving at the same pace for 2019 launches. And the understanding that this is not only about upgrading what is a mature smartphone market today, but also bring all the new business models and make sure the industry will be competitive with the innovation of 5G and artificial intelligence that goes alongside. And that's what's unique about this transition versus 4G. All the developed economies in the largest continents for the wireless industry moving at the same time. And we have to invent a number of technologies to fuel that innovation. It's a company that has been focused over the more than 30 years in our past to drive evolution in mobile technology. We see this as a great opportunity to bring our system-based innovation for this great technology shift. Through our heritage of going from analog to digital cellular, then 3G and 4G, with that transition, we redefine computing from desktop PCs to a mobile experience, enabled by our Snapdragon SoCs. Now we see a huge opportunity ahead of us as we move to 5G. Yes, and we expect the devices to be more capable, but also the devices could change as well, as we saw in any transition of wireless. Through this path to get to where we are right now has been a number of accomplishments. It's interesting for Qualcomm when we hear or we listen to comments about the 5G hype. This started back in 2015, and through that has been a number of industry milestones throughout 2016. Remember, we announced our first 5G chip back in June 2016. As we go through that year, in February 2017, a small group of companies decided to accelerate 5G by one full year, and that drove the major accomplishment by December of 17 to complete the standard for the launches that we're going to see now in the first half of 2019. And that was just the beginning. From there, this year of 2018 has been a year of a lot of work and accomplishment from Qualcomm and many of our partners. And when you look at all those milestones, where we are right now is when in the middle of this year, every single infrastructure have completed and announced, a process to get interoperability and development tests for 5G with Qualcomm chipsets and devices. Then we announced the modules that will enable all of those radios in 5G, including millimeter wave, to fit in a smartphone form factor. And now we're starting to do live over-the-air calls with 5G new radio with a mobile form factor devices across a number of operators. And we could not get to this point if it wasn't for a culture of innovation in the hard work of the Qualcomm employees. And especially, I'm so thankful for that, because in the face of a lot of challenges that we have in our company, 18 has been a year of remarkable execution, and it proves the quality and the resilience of the Qualcomm employees and engineers, but I want you to hear from them how they think about 5G.
When somebody says that something that we are working on is impossible, it makes me feel energized.
It seems impossible at the beginning, but the team that I work for makes impossible possible.
I look at 5G as an enabling technology. I think it's going to be a technology that is going to be fueling many other industries, many other revolutions and innovations in many fields.
I've seen how 3G to 4G transition changed the world, and this is going to be even bigger than that. I'm working with a team of different disciplines, systems, hardware, and software.
I've been leading the 5G research for 9mm wave frequency. Now we have thousands of engineers participating in every 3GPP meeting, hundreds of companies.
The group that I work with is the modem software group. So that's the group that's responsible for the 5G software stack across all Qualcomm chipsets.
So my focus in the big scheme of 5G is 5G on millimeter wave. Well, we work with operators worldwide. We're actually putting together a small over-the-air network.
These things do not just happen. Qualcomm has been thinking about this for years.
If that's one thing that really keeps the team very, very excited and motivated is the fact that we are really making history here.
Thank you very much. It's been a remarkable, I think, year of execution for a company. We're very proud of what the Qualcomm team can accomplish. But this is now what I wanted to spend the time talking about, why 5G is a Qualcomm size problem. The expectations on the industry right now is very high. It's very high for the infrastructure, it's very high for the devices. We have a very mature wireless ecosystem, and the smartphone is our inseparable device. And the bar is very high of what users expect out of the smartphone and technology, especially if our jobs as we drive a new transition of wireless is to convince each and every one of you that you needed to get a 5G smartphone. And we start that journey with the networks. The networks in 5G are expected to deliver multi-gigabit data with ultra-low latency, and to have the capacity and the flexibility to support a diverse array of devices and objects beyond smartphones. And from smart cars to smart meters to factories and automation systems. And the technology has been developed to meet those extreme requirements of next generation services and application, especially devices that could not be connected to wireless because of reliability requirements. So it starts with an incredibly complex technology at the heart of 5G. And that's why we say this is a Qualcomm size problem, because you have multiple elements of complexity that require a system-level solution and innovation. It's easy to say that companies can have a 5G chip, but you have to really scale 5G across all of those use cases, all of those promises that we've been talking about it, all of those networks. So it starts with the complexity of spectrum. You have now sub-6 in every other spectrum of 4G that will be reformed. You have millimeter wave, which is a brand new spectrum for very high bandwidth. You also now have shared and unlicensed spectrum. You have FDD and TDD. It's going to be part of 5G. You have to basically deal with different network configurations, non-standalone when you leverage the 4G core, and standalone as you bring independent networks, and also going to be very important as you start to build that to the enterprises and the industrial sites. You have wide area base stations and small cells. You have the coexistence of public and private networks. And then most important, you're going to continue to see band combinations. The 5G roadmap is not about just launching the 5G device in the first half of 19 and it stops there. What's exciting about this is an industry, especially for a company like Qualcomm that is in the semiconductor business, that we're going to continue to see upgrades as this technology continues to mature. Just as an example, you start with sub-6 and millimeter wave, then you have now the coexistence of the non-standalone and standalone. Then you bring gigabit 4G, and then you started to aggregate carrier aggregation within 5G, and then 5G and 4G. With the band combination that needs to be done in a way that abstracts the complexity of the technology so other industries beyond the mobile can embrace it. In a way that the technology can be scalable and actually can get to the competitive price points. So there's a lot of challenges, but that's why this industry has been busy at work for the past 2 years to get to this point, and it's just the beginning of this journey. And the complexity of the network, it's going to be half of the problem as we think about the complexity in the device. And that's where I believe one of the highest expectations exists, because the device battery needs to last for the whole day. The form factor needs to be attractive, if not better. That's the expectation we all have. You have now to provide ultra-fast access to content and services. You're going to be streaming and sharing 4K video or 360 video content anytime, anywhere, as easy as it is to deal with music streaming today. You have now to have gaming experience that you make you forget you're not on a gaming console, especially as you take the capabilities of edge computing and edge cloud computing of the networks. And you have to move seamless across 5G and 4G networks. None of this is easy. And when we look at the challenges to build a 5G smartphone, is go from having the good link budget on 5G with good coverage and performance. How do you bring that much more technology, the millimeter wave patch antenna and multiple antennas, more band combinations, but you still have to deal with size and make enough room for the battery. Mobility, as you start blasting data in multiple gigabits of speed, how to get all of the energy out, have a faster processor, run machine learning, but still make the battery last all day, and deal with the complexity of now a very mature and multi-radio RF environment. So all those challenges are part of what it takes to get to a 5G smartphone. That's why, that simple moment, or have the QRD with the 5G icon and millimeter wave, it was a lot of work to get to this point. And that's why, we're so happy about that moment. And we're uniquely positioned to actually make that reality in smartphones in the beginning of the transition. All of those challenges, they've been addressed so that you could see announcements you saw within this week from all of the major carriers about the confidence in getting 5G smartphones out to the public in the United States in the first half of 2019. And this is the sentence that serves as our motto for 5G, especially for millimeter wave: making the impossible inevitable. And that's how we feel about millimeter wave 5G new radio technology in smartphones. And I go to a recap for you. 2015, it was about millimeter wave won't work. And we show millimeter wave with beam steering. Then it moves to, yes, but millimeter wave will only work if it has line of sight. And we show non-line of sight mobility in a van with full mobility with millimeter wave. Then in October, then they'll say, okay, this is not going to work for mobility then. It's only going to work for other applications, but not for mobility. You can't get that to a smartphone. And we show them a smartphone reference design and antenna modules that allow you to have the performance in the size, in the power, in the thermal constraints of that smartphone. And then the other one is, okay, but the device is going to be too big. Look at your MTP, your mobile test platform, and then in Hong Kong we show a device, and I put side by side with my existing smartphone and show how you can actually get to a form factor that is going to be competitive. And this is a great opportunity for all of us, and this is why I said 5G is a Qualcomm-sized problem, because of the complexity. And I would say we thrive in complexity, and that's why we want to make the impossible inevitable. And when you think about your phone, those are the next challenges that we had to overcome to get to this point. Analog beamforming, you're going to have a path loss, so you have to compensate for that. Your hand can block antennas of millimeter wave. So how you allow adaptive beam steering on those antennas, you can fast switch between antennas and you can tune the antennas. And then you have to have multiple antenna configurations across the device so you can actually push the boundaries of wireless with millimeter wave in the 5G promise. But to be a leader, it requires more than the modem, more than the baseband. And that is the reason for this moment that we made the decision that we needed to get into the RF business, because you have to have a completely different approach to RF with innovation. So to overcome this many complexities of 5G. As you think about multiple spectrum bands, multi-mode, carrier aggregation, antenna sharing, beyond what we have seen in the industry, we needed to develop a solution from the modem, from digital all the way to the antenna. And this done in a way that will support the exceptional requirements of building a smartphone. As part of that journey, that we announced are modules that you can actually have the ability to integrate millimeter wave technology in very small form factors. And in summary, it's no longer about what we can do, it's what we deliver today, so we can actually start with 5G, in the first half of 2019. Snapdragon X50 modem, the ability to do the RF front end with millimeter wave antenna modules, and then show all of this working into a phone form factor that you can take it to the field and optimize the technology and allow many of our partners to build their infrastructure and their devices. Of course, we can't do this alone. So this is the work of very tight cooperation with a number of industry leaders in the operator ecosystem. 5G will come through those great operators. They're making significant investment in that transition. It's one of the most significant transitions that will bring a lot of excitement back into the telecom sector. And we'll be working with them around the world in trials, in prototyping, and we're getting now to friendly users so that we can launch this. And beyond the operators, it's about an extensive partnership with OEMs. And you see all of the names on this page. It continues to expand. They are building devices, starting with this great, data broadband and smartphone opportunities, but the beginning of many other devices as we start to take 5G to other industries and new business models. And what we wanted to do today is to bring many of those ecosystem partners to talk to you about what they're doing, especially in this year that will start in 2019, which will be the 5G launch year. So I have a special guest for you. It's a company that have been working with Qualcomm for a very, very long time. And we'll talk to you a lot about the technology. It's a great pleasure and honor to introduce to the stage Verizon Wireless and Nick Palmer, Chief Network Engineer Officer and Head of Wireless Networks at Verizon.
Hello, aloha. How's everyone? It's such a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, Cristiano, for having Verizon here with you today. I'm anxious to talk to you about 5G, about how our industry is moving forward. But first, can we give just a little props to 4G? So 4G is serving millions and millions of customers today. And by the way, there's still a lot of innovation happening on our 4G network now and into the future. And a little tidbit for you. You're not going to get a great 5G network without the best 4G network. So keep that in mind. Okay, let me talk to you now about 5G. So 5G absolutely promises to transform the way that we live, work, play, and learn. And it can impact every industry, every vertical, our global economy, and frankly, our global society. The demos that you will see here today are just a glimpse into that future. You know, a year ago, we would have been talking about 5G in the future. And now, we're able to use the present tense when we're talking about 5G. And building this 5G ecosystem, Cristiano talked about it, but it requires collaboration. It requires collaboration between Verizon and technology partners like Qualcomm, between Verizon and device manufacturers and infrastructure providers like Samsung and Motorola and Ericsson, all of which are here with us today, and with 5G innovators. And you will see some really cool people doing some really innovative things in the demos also here with us today. And Verizon has been the convener of many of those partnerships. And we did this purposefully to accelerate the development and deployment of this fascinating next generation of wireless technology. It's been over 2 years ago now that Verizon created what we called the Technology Forum. And this community of companies, many of which I've already named, together helped develop a spec that evolved into the 3GPP new radio spec that we all know and love today, that was issued in almost a year ago, December. And that's why that work, that collaboration, that is why we can talk about 5G solutions in the present tense today. 5G solutions like Verizon's 5G Home product, that is an offering that we actually launched in October in 4 cities in the US, Sacramento, Los Angeles, Houston, and Indianapolis. So 5G customers there today are enjoying the benefits and starting to realize the promise that 5G offers. And not only was this the first 5G live commercial network in the US, it was the first one in the globe, and we're very proud of that. It's built on our millimeter wave spectrum, and this 5G ultra-wideband network is just tailor-made for bringing high-speed broadband service into the homes of these digital-first customers, and it supports the continued growth of streaming video, connected homes, remote working, advanced gaming, and much, much more. So this massive bandwidth, gigabit speeds, single-digit latency, this is all coming to life first in our 5G Home product offering. And, the way that we think about things is that with new technology like 5G, there is definitely a first mover advantage. We feel like we have a first mover advantage clearly in our deep engineering expertise that we have in Verizon, a first mover advantage in our fiber assets and our deployment philosophies, and a first mover advantage also in the strategic partnerships that we have created. There's another first mover advantage, and that's millimeter wave. And if Cristiano didn't convince you how millimeter wave is working, I thought it would be nice to show you from engineers that have been working and testing and frankly, just exhausting this technology for frankly, a long, long time now. So let's roll the video and you can take a look for yourself.
We believe 5G is an exponential improvement to what we have today.
In millimeter wave, we have a massive amount of bandwidth.
We're seeing testing speeds of over a gigabit per second, as well as extremely low latency.
It's really high frequency, so everybody thinks it doesn't go very far, but it's a really big pipe, and so that's what allows you to gain the super fast speeds. We're here on top of this parking garage. We're 3,000 feet away from our radio node. The cool thing about this is we did not move the radio node. It's pointing down to serve the customers in that area. But here, even 3,000 feet away, we're still getting gig speeds. So we've driven about 1/3 a mile away from the radio node. It's located over there behind the trees. We're still getting very good speeds, even though we have foliage in between. Our radio node is tucked in behind those apartments over there. The signal is actually bouncing off of the buildings. Even at this distance, with non-line of sight, we're still getting almost a gig. We're here doing our in-building tests. This right here is our CPE equipment. We're going through the wall, over here, also through the window, and our radio is way out there at the tower. And we're still getting really good speeds and signal.
We're in North Houston with multiple customers here receiving 5G coverage on the same node. So this house to my left is the first home to see 5G. And then if you look behind me, we also have another 5G customer with a foliage obstruction, and both customers have great 5G coverage. We're gonna test a third-party speed test app. So as you can see, even in the rain, we're still getting good speeds.
Essentially, what beamforming does is compensate for any signal loss by switching automatically to the strongest beam. The selection of the beam is done instantaneously, so you get really solid coverage using millimeter wave spectrum.
What we've learned over the past year is that the millimeter wave signal is much more resilient than anyone's expected.
This is going out to customers, and it's got the Verizon name behind it, so it has to be reliable and robust. Right now, we're only using half of our spectrum. I'm excited to get this build out completed and unleash the full potential of 5G.
Okay, so I hear some claps. I hope you see why we continue to be bullish on millimeter wave and why we believe that millimeter wave is part of the promise of 5G, and it's frankly why we started where we started. So we're proud to be first to 5G. The ongoing development and deployment of this technology is frankly one of the great tech challenges of our time. Verizon has been leading in this, will continue to do so, and as we like to say, we don't wait for the future, we build it. So let's talk about mobility for a minute. So we're full speed ahead on 5G mobile service, and we've been frankly just ticking off these milestones one after another, but it is this type of momentum that does push the technology in the industry forward. So just to name a few of them, we did the first two-way data transmission over the 3GPP 5G NR standard outdoors in the wild, as we like to say, not in a lab, and that was back in June. I think it was in August when we did a successful handoff, the first one, from a 5G NR signal to equipment in an actual moving vehicle. And then we did a series of 5G transmissions on a commercial network equipment, including the first 5G data transmission to a smartphone. That was in Providence, Rhode Island, just a few weeks ago. And maybe you already heard, maybe you were there, that just this morning we did a live video call with commercial equipment on our commercial network here with 2 smartphones on either end. okay, attached to 2 different 5G nodes. So again, you know, there's many firsts when we're bringing new technology to life, but it is the momentum of continuing to push the boundaries of this technology and test and test and test that creates the robust network and robust devices that are needed for the future. So these are all building blocks on the road to mobility, and mobility will come in early 2019. So the news we made yesterday with Samsung, that we will bring one of the first 5G smartphones to market in early 2019. In August, by the way, we announced that we would offer the world's first 5G upgradable device, and that's the Motorola Z3, that will have a Motorola mod that will come in early 2019 that will be 5G enabled, that you could just snap on the back to the Z3. So customers are already purchasing a 5G upgradable phone. So put together that, plus now our first 5G smartphone with Samsung, and that makes us the only carrier to offer 2 exclusive 5G smartphones in 2019. And we'll also be offering a 5G mobile hotspot from Inseego. So more and more devices will come as 5G capable devices become available. We will continue to push the boundaries and continue to put them on the best network. So as you can see, the ecosystem and all its elements are really rapidly coming together to make 5G a reality. One other element of this whole ecosystem that I continue to talk about that's really important is how to encourage innovation. So we have our Verizon 5G labs. This is another great example of collaboration. These labs have live 5G nodes up and running in them. And we have assembled in these tech incubators just a wonderful assortment of startups, of tech leaders, of universities, different academic institutions. They have access to a live 5G network to develop, to test, and to refine their 5G applications and solutions. And some of these solutions include new ways to heal people. So you've heard a lot about telemedicine. You'll see a demo today which takes it to a very specific example about remote physical therapy. So please check that out. How about transforming education through immersive and distance learning? This is something that is important to me personally and to Verizon, and this technology has great potential to do more than just bring the person in a distance learning environment, to learn, but actually bring the environment to the classroom in a different way. Taking cloud gaming to all new levels. You'll see a bit of that as well. And developing truly mixed, immersive, augmented, VR type of applications. And this becomes then the platform that will hit every industry and multiple use cases. So we currently have these labs right now in New York City, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and in Waltham, Massachusetts. We are expanding that. In just a few weeks, probably by the first of the year, in Washington, D.C., we will have a lab opened up. And then following, we have L.A. and also the Bay Area. So many places for this incubation to occur. And each of these will be focused on a different vertical, such as robotics or immersive entertainment, and things like that. The DC location, for example, will be focused on applications for first responders. So we shouldn't forget that this great technology can really aid people that put their lives on the line every day to help others. So this 5G ecosystem is expanding and evolving as we speak, day by day, week by week. It is an incredibly exciting yet complex process, and that process requires vision, it requires commitment, and it requires deep collaboration. As a company of engineers, which I am proud to say I am one, we get very excited about pushing these boundaries of technology with our partners and bringing it to life for individuals and for businesses. And with all of the firsts that I mentioned, there is still so much more to come because we are just in the infancy of the 5G technology stage. And frankly, we can hardly imagine what today's innovators have in store for us all tomorrow. It's up to all of us to empower them, to help them to dream and to experiment and to create together. We are incredibly excited and thankful to be a part of this event. and really anxious to bring 5G to life for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your insights, Nikki. It's just an honor for us to have Verizon here. Isn't that millimeter wave, use cases and infrastructure, isn't that video great? For us at Qualcomm, all of this millimeter wave challenge and all this skepticism remind us of the early days of Qualcomm and CDMA, when folks said CDMA will not work. That's how we feel about millimeter wave, and that's how much proud and happy we are, us and our partners, at the progress we made today in bringing that part of 5G. That stuff is difficult. It's difficult. It's not easy, but we don't go for easy. So, what we're going to do with this 5G technology now, that we're going to bring that to market. And one of the key things is how we build the foundation so we change experiences. The easy example that we always refer to is how we think about video. Music today, it's a streaming service. No matter what signal condition you are, it's a streaming service. And 4K, Ultra HD video, that's how we're going to feel about with 5G. But that's just, the very beginning. There are other things you can do when you deliver multi-gigabit with low latency connection to smartphones. As an easy example, as you start doing things when multiple applications, you have the bandwidth to go to the cloud or the edge of the network and run machine learning and prediction and behavior and get that back to you in time to be part of the application or task that you're doing. Like a simple thing like searching today, and you have a lot of prediction of what you're searching. Think about that capability enabled by low latency and high speed in every single application. But think about the different types of applications that you can provide, thinking about immersion in the video, but then you're about connectivity. And the low latency also talk about how you connect to other people. There is no question that with 4G, and we look at some of the messaging services, and you look what happened with services like WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook and social. And if I can have now an instant connection with everyone, you have the concept of virtual presence. So you have a number of different services and experiences that we'll see once you give the technology to developers. Some we can identify right now, but most of it is yet to be invented. And looking what happened back when 4G, we know that the fact that we have a mature mobile environment, and mobile is going to other industry, the development ecosystem is going to move faster than we've seen before. And 5G will bring this whole new dimension to the mobile experience, from not only watching videos and socializing, but about creation and change in the productivity in the office environment, gaming, shopping, communicating. So everything will take it to a whole new level. And to talk to you about that, we have another special guest. This is another company that has been, a leader in wireless in the industry, especially in the cooperation with Qualcomm. Is the company that, with Qualcomm and other partners, drove the effort to accelerate the standardization process and to bring 5G to the market for more than a year. We're very happy to bring you AT&T to talk about the experiences. I'd like to welcome to stage Kevin Peterson, Senior Vice President of Wireless Product Marketing at AT&T. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Game-changing, revolutionary. Those are two words you hear a lot of times alongside 5G. Well, makes sense, right? When you think about the promise of 5G, right? We talked a lot about it today, but it truly does unlock new experiences, immersive entertainment, how we interact with each other, things, new business models, revamping existing business models, ultimately having an impact on society if you think about telemedicine, first responders, education. There's a lot of merit to the promise. So revolutionary, game-changing, unprecedented, alongside 5G, seems natural. One minor detail, you got to pay off on the promise. What does that require? I'm going to spend my 10 minutes less about the technology and more about the ecosystem and what has to come together in order to pay off on the potential. So, again, delivering 5G, executing on a promise, realizing the potential, requires an entire ecosystem. More so than at any other time in the evolution of wireless, if you look back. Right? The ecosystem, as I've defined it here, in a very simple way, has got to come together. 5G's core capabilities, when you think about greater speeds, greater efficiency, lower latency, higher reliability, ability to support massive IoT on their own are impactful, significant in their own right. Together, as the foundation of an ecosystem that cuts across not just device, network, but software, developers, creators, and even customers. If you think about the level of interaction that's going to be required to unlock the benefits of these advancements in technology at the pace and at the depth we need in order to deliver an experience, to meet a challenge that we haven't been able to meet before, or just to create an experience that was never thought about, it was possible before. It's going to take this entire ecosystem. And we are confident, and we think it requires a company that isn't just a wireless company. We think it's a company that needs to be very well-rounded. Content is important. Direct access to content, enterprise relationships, deep developer ties, are just a part of the equation that has to come together in order to make this ecosystem work, right? And work at an accelerating pace. But we're confident, right? Again, if you think about the interplay between continuous advancements in technology, partnerships both new, existing, or partnerships we haven't even dreamed of, right? This ecosystem in and of itself needs to be driven and be driven in multiple ways in multiple areas. We feel AT&T is at the right place at the right time to make that happen. And when you think about the innovation that will come out of this ecosystem, innovation for innovation's sake is a waste of your time. Innovation channeled to be applied to deliver on a goal is what moves us ahead, right? Well, that's how we're thinking about it. And what I thought I'd do in my 10-minute slot is talk a little bit about how we're thinking about use cases. How do you take this burgeoning ecosystem with technology, new, existing, different levels of partnership, and actually apply it to a set of use cases or think about, thinking about the future and driving it forward, okay? So let's do that. So, enterprise. Quite frankly, we expect the first instances of 5G in a real way to come in through the enterprise door. We believe so in that you are giving these businesses the ability to capitalize on new opportunities, create new business models, address critical challenges that weren't deemed, they never thought they could before. They weren't deemed probable before or cost effective. So I've given you a few examples. These are very pragmatic, straight down the middle examples, but I thought a good teaser for the time we have today. So broadcasting. This is 5G in a box. Portable, temporary 5G platform used where needed and when needed, eliminating the significant costs and effort to create a temporary wired network. And on top of that, you start thinking about, I can get there when I need to get there, I can do it in a cost-effective way, and I can deliver on a streaming 360 video that really, we picture golf here, that bring golf, take it to a new level and engage a customer in a way or a consumer in a way they've never been engaged. Smart manufacturing. We're trialing right now with Samsung and really rethinking about how you take technology and you improve mobility, performance, and efficiencies within a plant. You think about safety, monitoring conditions, as well as improving machinery performance, just to name a few. But again, it's productivity, it's empowerment, and ultimately it's an economic equation that I think is going to help drive this forward. Retail, real quick, it's twofold. One is it's the retail experience for the customer, and other is the retail experience that can be provided by the retailer himself. So if you think about location, data, insights, and the ability to apply, all in a setting that allows you to do things you've never been able to do before. Shop on your terms in a way that you had never been able to experience, as well as be served in a retail store in a way you've never been able to be served. Not on here is IoT, right? IoT, I cut across, whether it's you think about a service industry or so, but it's video surveillance and tracking. It's drones inspecting and delivering. But I look at it and say it's cost without compromise, right? It's security, it's reliability, it's the ability for a first responder to get there without having to be there, and so forth. But again, enterprise segment goes first. I believe this technology is key to unlocking value, both if you think about what they're doing or how they're conducting business today, as well as new opportunities in the future. So consumers. Consumers are always looking for more from their connectivity, and we expect 5G to deliver just that. Not only by enhancing the things we do today, and I think Cristiano mentioned it briefly, is out of the gate, 5G makes those things you're doing today better. Could be social media, shopping, interactive maps, but it's elevating your experience in a very not so subtle way, but in a way that allows it to seem very useful, very practical, and very part of your everyday routine, but it brings you into the 5G umbrella. By taking your current habits, your current daily activities, and making them better. Making them more impactful, making them more enjoyable, making them more immersive, making them just something that they have never been. I'm giving you a few examples here. Again, these range, but virtual presence. So imagine attending a concert virtually, and being there without being there, and even attending with a friend across the country at a concert in a different location and being able to view that concert. Gaming, this is an easy one. People talk about untethering gaming. So I give you flexibility, mobility, as well as the ability for immersive experience, a more immersive experience, which brings me to the last one, entertainment and education. So again, it's being able to shadow your favorite character in a show, or take a virtual vacation anywhere in the world. What you get back down to this is consumers are looking for more. 5G is set to deliver more. You got to go back to the ecosystem and look at the relationship between developers, content creators, networks, devices, and how do these come together in order to deliver on and pay that promise? Bring somebody in and delight the consumer. In closing, a lot of firsts have been talked about, right? AT&T is taking a holistic, a very aggressive, and I think a tried and true approach, if you will, to 5G, meaning continued fiber leadership. 5G evolution technologies deployed in 400 plus markets. LTE LAA now in 31 markets. Software-defined networking, of course, standards-based mobile 5G, which we announced, first, just several weeks ago. And speaking of first, 18 was a year of first for AT&T. The first wireless 5G data transfer over millimeter wave on a live 5G network. World's first mobile 5G internet connection over our mobile network to the first 5G device. And guys, this was back in October, right? It's first in a timely fashion. And that's not all. We'll be bringing 5G, mobile 5G, to 12 cities across the US this year. If you look out to 2019, it is about momentum, and it's about 5G evolution. It's about expanding our mobile 5G footprint very quickly, as well as bringing 5G-capable smartphones to market, right, to complete the experience. So, you know, again, guys, it's bottom line for us. It's not just about one element of the ecosystem, but it's about the entire ecosystem. I think the winner is able to play across the ecosystem and do so in a way that delivers something impactful, meaningful, insightful, different to a customer, to a consumer, to a business owner, to a first responder. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do think the combination of advancements in wireless technology meets a burgeoning ecosystem that has the potential to pay off, right? To pay off not only for all of us sitting in the room, but more importantly, for that household, that business owner, that consumer that's looking for something more, even if they don't realize it today. Let's go delight them. Let's have a lot of fun. This is a great opportunity for the industry. We feel great about where we sit. And hold on for the first. They'll keep coming as we get to market with 5G. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, AT&T. It's great to be working with AT&T about the 5G service and experiences. I would really like to take a moment to express our gratitude to both Verizon and AT&T for their leadership in 5G here back home and for bringing those live networks that we could have it, you know, today here in Hawaii. We're really excited about all the activity with 5G in the United States. As we think of the network deployment, 5G is really about including multiple technologies. We're talking a lot about millimeter wave, but sub-6 and LTE will both play a very important role in the 5G deployments. Millimeter wave and Wi-Fi will serve very dense urban areas when high throughput and greater capacity is required. Sub-6 will provide coverage beyond dense urban areas to extend 5G services. We also will see reforming of 4G spectrum. And LTE will provide essential capabilities as 5G is rolled out. That's why the upgrade to gigabit-capable LTE that we drove, you know, in the past couple of years become essential for the deployment of 5G. As you start to build the coverage, you have 5G devices and you have handovers to that. The 5G is also needs to be deployed in a way that can enable the rollout of those new services. So we talk a lot about what's happening here back home, but I would like to do now introduce another special guest, which is also somebody that had been working very close with Qualcomm for many years, and my friend, Fotis Carones from Everything Everywhere, the mobile operator of BT. Welcome, Fotis.
Cristiano, aloha. Hello, everybody. It's really great being here in Hawaii. And you know, Cristiano, it's been a great decade, you know, great, fantastic years that went, you know, and still running. And I think I have an idea why. You know, I have a lucky charm I want to show you. I always keep it, a lucky charm. And there it is. This is the Snapdragon that made 4G happen. Snapdragon that made this great decade and a great partnership, Cristiano. And I really want to thank you and your teams for a great collaboration. Do you think this can take me to the future, or do I need more?
Why don't you do this? Let me give this to the Qualcomm Museum. And you take this one, which we're going to announce it today. That's going to be your new lucky charm.
Fantastic, thanks.
For us to create history and change the world one more time.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to be here in Hawaii. Aloha, everybody, and mahalo for the fantastic invitation. So I have the pleasure and the honor to be the executive sponsor for the 5G program for the BT Group. And it's really amazing building this new ecosystem of 5G. And talking about ecosystems, I had the incredible pleasure to, yesterday I admired Hawaii from the, let's say, the sea level, but I also did scuba diving. So I discovered a new ecosystem right underneath the water, which has an incredible harmony. We usually talk about, 5G and an ecosystem, about a tip of an iceberg and so on. Being in Hawaii, I felt that it's the harmony of being in a fantastic environment underwater showed, the brilliance of this island and the ecosystem of fantastic nature and environment that is right under. And so, super pleasure being here. It's been a great journey because we launched 4G working in 2011, 2012, and it's been a massive year for EE. So EE being the mobile best operator in the UK, and we did with several steps by launching 4G, doing carrier aggregation, working collaboratively with Qualcomm, creating those features for voice over LTE, Wi-Fi calling, multiple carrier aggregation, etc. And then 2016, February, we got acquired. We built so much value with our customers and our network and our reliability. We got acquired by the BT Group, and we're part of the BT Group, which is a fantastic family, a great company, and a great sense of purpose for a brilliant connectivity and bringing a sense of purpose to our community and our society. So the 5G experience has, as a foundation, 4G. 4G must be absolutely brilliant. And we have a great 4G experience. We are now the fifth consecutive year that we have the best network in the UK. Fifth consecutive year. So RootMetrics measures us every 6 months in all our KPIs, voice, data, text, internet, and we are continuously leading the way. And this is about, providing an enhanced customer experience. It's about learning how do we be ahead of the game, how do we provide an enhanced customer experience for our customers. It's been a year of incredible. So from 2011, 2012, with 4G went live, we had speeds of about 15 up to 20 megabits per second, right? And in a few years, we're talking about a gigabit society, LTE gigabit, just in a few years. Now, is that enough to drive the new era of the new decade? We believe not. If we have data of growth of about 50% every year, right? Because the great, fantastic revolution, if I may say, of 4G was video on smartphones and created a great customer experience. But you can't solve the problem of this or opportunity of what's coming ahead in wireless by just throwing hardware and capacity. And 5G comes with a great opportunity of low latency, high speed, incredible speeds, incredible capacity, and basically, being able to connect all these millions and millions of devices. We talked about billions of devices already that are coming up. So all this innovation that Qualcomm is doing creates a lot of, I would say, responsibility from the network, right? We will have devices that are going to be 5G. We're going to have IoT. We're going to have connected vehicles. We're going to have anything electronic being connected, etc. So that requires a different type of an architecture, a different type of a network. And the 5G experience requires a different type of a network. It has to do with, re-architecting quite a lot around the core. It has to do with virtualization. It's not just about connectivity. It is about virtualization, creating a defect-free network. A defect-free network, if so many hundreds of millions of devices have to be connected, and our life is kind of dependent on the networks, and our industry is dependent on the networks, and people and connectivity, that requires architectures that are much more solid, right? That we can't have failures, and we need to be predicting when problems are going to come and avoid them from happening. And this is a great coincidence in our industry because we're talking about massive connectivity, which creates enormous amount of data, but actually, there's AI coming in as well, artificial intelligence, virtualization, cloud, all that in parallel we're existing, but we're never collaborating. And this is the time that together with 5G, we can actually convert data into information. We can change operating models, the way networks are designed and operated to avoid, having single points of failure. For industry, we are very proud of, to create an environment also that has network slicing. So we need to be completely connected, 100% connected. Our network in BT, on the mobile space, is 92% geography coverage. We cover already 99.7% of the population with 4G. We are testing now the emergency services network, which is a highly reliable for our 4G commercial network, on which the health services, the Metropolitan Police and the fire will be using as their highly critical mission network. And that requires, again, a very important reliability and responsibility. So by being 100% connected, we need the 4G layers with gigabit LTE, we need massive capacity, we need the 5G layer, and now in the UK we have acquired the sub-6 spectrum, and we're already rolling out the 5G networks. And of course Wi-Fi. So all that together provides a connected solution. Industry is really great because that enables us to move into more of a sort of a full managed service type of connectivity. Now, just to go back into the the first type of rollouts that we're doing, we have understood that about 1,500 of the sites, believe it or not, 1,500 sites of a total of about 19,000 carry 25% of data. That's a massive amount of data. So these are the sites that we're going to go first for 5G. It covers 15% of the population in terms of like households, but basically that's where people commute and collaborate, And just to go on the industry again, there's a massive opportunity around industry by just putting a 5G and a converged connection into different manufacturers, public sector services, health organization, etc. Because there's a very big need of flexibility in the workplace where you need to be wireless, you need to be constantly connected with very high speeds and to create that environment of mobility, not only outside, but inside the workplace. So 5G in 2019, this is the plan. So we were in the first wave of these innovating operators. Innovation is our DNA, but also reliability and fantastic execution. We want to deliver a great customer experience, an elevated customer experience to our customers and our enterprise partners. So in the UK, the four capitals, which is London of England, Cardiff of Wales, Belfast, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, Edinburgh. We add Birmingham and Manchester. These are the very big metropolitan areas. And to that, there is another additional 10 cities, so altogether 16. Bristol, Coventry, Glasgow, again a very big city. Liverpool, Newcastle, Nottingham, Sheffield. Some of these areas are very highly industrial areas for manufacturing, so there's opportunities for us to connect and to provide an exceptional experience so that we can start these so-called use cases. And there's a lot of use cases that we actually identified, and we still have to identify. And it is important to, that we are perceived as a reliable partner, a reliable network, and therefore 5G has to be, it gives that credibility, building on a reliable network. Just to illustrate is Canary Wharf. So I had a coffee about 3 months ago, somewhere on the 35th floor. Canary Wharf is practically the financial city of the UK, but also, we'll say, of Europe. All the biggest, best brands, banks, whatever, consulting companies. There's a big shopping center, shopping mall underneath. There's about, at least 150,000 people working there and about another 50,000 visitors. So I said, let's put a box there, So this is a container, and we put a 5G site connected to the live core. And that was just 2 months ago, and we showed incredible speeds. This was like connectivity for fixed wireless access, so a router and 4G inside, as well as a first mobile test device, Incredibly how the form factor has changed in a few months, The first sort of 5G device I had was the size of a fridge with all the, the antennas and the modems and the CPEs and the memory and all that good stuff, And then a month later, it's shrunk, the size of a device of today. Incredible, and this is where we are today. So 2 types of use cases. One is mobile devices, and the other one is fixed wireless access. And with fixed wireless access, actually, by having carrier aggregation, 5G, coming in, as well as the 4G carrier, you can actually have an incredible Wi-Fi experience in the office and being very, very, fantastic broadband, right? So you don't need at that particular application, you don't need a 5G device necessarily. You could do it now. You could test it with your laptop, with your 4G device, and you can have speeds of 600, 700 megabits per second. Incredible, groundbreaking. So these are the things that we did, and I actually stayed there for about 2 months, and I saw about 96 companies, and everybody's gave me so many ideas. These big corporates, these big international companies, of what they could do with 5G. How could they transform? How could they change? So it's not just about making calls, because we did celebrate making a call. But I think calls are around for about 180, 60 years now. It is more about, when Bell, right? It was Alexander Bell that did the first call. And it's all about the applications, the technology, the different use cases that you can do with 5G. Connectivity is basics, of course, but there's new applications that are coming up with, immersive experience, like me being underwater in Hawaii and seeing this fantastic, ecosystem. And I was, you could revive that in a video and live inside that, et cetera, et cetera. So immersive technologies, augmented reality, where you can actually move and understand the products that you're looking at, and connected cars. So there's huge variety of opportunity. And we are deploying now, continues to deploy in all areas. This is East London. I want to say a big thank you, first of all, to my teams, my engineering teams in BT, the engineering teams of BT, for incredible, work and collaboration with the ecosystem, building this groundbreaking ecosystem. And huge thank you to Qualcomm. These are, very important milestones in my heart, and I think the Lucky Charm helped. And now I have a new one, which we're already testing, by the way, and this is for, the new decade, or the first few years of the first, maybe years of the decade. But we did, broadcasting, for example, is previous speaker talked about, Gavin, about broadcasting. With 5G, you can do incredible broadcasting already. You don't need big cars and trucks. But we did all that stuff with 4G. We were the first to launch gigabit LTE, again with a Qualcomm device, etc. So the future is an amazing future. It is a future of, being bold, being in the front. Don't be afraid to change the world. Confront barriers and convert the impossible rather to possible. It's always possible. I'm a genuine optimist, and I really thank Qualcomm for sharing the vision. And I'm really proud to be here today. And mahalo, and thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your time.
I'm Fotis Coronis. I'm the 5G executive for BT Group. This is the first network in the UK to go 5G live, so we're very proud for this result that we have today. It's opening a new chapter for our digital infrastructure, our digital economy, enabling consumers to have incredible capacity and speeds that were never here before. There's over 150,000 people working here and moving day in, day out. There's visitors on top of that. Very big enterprises here, shopping centers. And so the need of capacity and speeds and fantastic customer experience on your handset as you're walking around and moving or working is fundamental. And we are just untapping opportunities that we can't imagine today, or what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years. Once more, we show that we are a brand of innovation. We're working as engineers, product creators, innovators. If we can provide 5G here, we can provide 5G everywhere.
Thank you so much, Fotis and EE, for those insights. It's really exciting just to see the number of markets they're going to be launching in 2019. You know, we won't have the time to go into every other geography, but we wanted to give you an understanding of what's happened beyond, you know, the United States, also Europe. And stay tuned. I think there is an interesting event on China Mobile in the next couple of days. So it's going to be a lot more news about 5G. The smartphone will remain the essential device, and it is at the center of our digital lifestyle. And 5G has this mission to bring the smartphone to a whole new level. And that's this event in Hawaii. That's the event when we announce every year our premium tier Snapdragon chipset. What will make it so special this time, because that's the mobile processor that will be in the 5G smartphone as we launch 5G. And what we want to do is to give you an idea of what that processor will allow you to have in your 5G device, in your smartphone experience. We're going to share a video with you, and after the video, I'd like to welcome to stage my friend. We've been working together for more than 15 years, Alex Katuzian, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of our mobile business in Qualcomm, and he will have a very exciting announcement to share with you today. Thank you.
Introducing the mobile platform designed for the next generation of connectivity. To those who want to be first, now with 5G, you can.
I do what I love.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Cristiano, thank you. Thank you for being here. What a great set of presentations by everyone. I'd like to thank our partners and our friends that came and joined us here today. We really appreciate it. 1 year ago, we asked you to imagine a mobile world where your smartphone has great performance. It can take great pictures and video to capture your life moments. It's highly secure to protect your data. It allows content immersion. And it brings you intelligent assistance to make your decision-making easier. We achieved all that with the Snapdragon 845 mobile processor, bringing great user experiences to consumers. But now, 1 year later, like clockwork, we're here again to announce something new, something very exciting. And I don't have to ask you to imagine anymore for 5G, because it's here, it's all around us. All of this can be possible with the most advanced mobile platform ever designed for smartphones. No, not a tiny dragon, a super Snapdragon. Raising the bar for performance and user experience and consumer benefits. And you know what? With this platform, now you can. Introducing the Snapdragon 855 mobile platform. So the 855 mobile platform will enhance the user experience a great deal. And we're going to do it with our 5 core tenets of system design. First, connecting the world with the fastest, most reliable 4G and 5G modems. Developing and creating mobile technologies and integrating them in the most intelligent architectures. Having AI be at the center of raising the bar for compute in mobile. Stunning photos and video because consumers capture so many moments of their lives. And being able to get immersed in all of the entertainment that the mobile platform has to offer. We're going to talk about a few of these today, but this is just a small glimpse of what you're going to get on day 2, where my colleagues are going to detail out why the 855 is the greatest platform ever made for mobile. So let's get started with AI. The 855 platform will push the capabilities of AI with our 4th generation AI engine. We've been able to achieve great performance and efficiencies in our new CPU, GPU, and DSP processors. These are the building blocks for our AI engine. Because AI just doesn't happen on one core, it efficiently picks the proper core for the best user experience. And because of this intelligent architecture, we've been able to achieve a 3x improvement in performance over the Snapdragon 845. And not only that, we're far ahead of our competition. Because we've been able to develop multiple AI experiences with 3 generations of AI engine with all of our ecosystem partners. And now our 4th generation AI engine is clearly 2x ahead of a recently announced 7-nanometer competitive SoC that is Android compatible. Yes. and thank you. And significantly ahead of another 7-nanometer SoC that was announced before that. No quizzes, I know you know who they are. So our intelligence extends itself into our camera solutions. We're adding a lot of smarts into our image signal processor. And by doing that, we're enabling the world's first computer vision ISP. That's going to change the way forever that consumers are going to take photos and video. We're actually adding computer vision hardware into our ISP, and along with the AI engine, it can now recognize who and what you're capturing. It understands and recognizes your full environment and intelligently can set camera parameters so you can always take the best photos and capture the best videos. Now, the 855 ISP has sight. Security and biometrics have been integrating into mobile platforms at a rapid pace. So that's why, along with the 855 platform, we're announcing the world's first ultrasonic fingerprint sensing solution for mobile that's designed to go under the display. It's called Qualcomm 3D Sonic Sensor, and you'll see this in handset products in first half of 2019. The 3D Sonic sensor is truly the most secure solution on the mobile market today because the sensor can actually capture a full 3D image of your fingerprints, ridges, and pores that's unique to you instead of just a simple 2D image done by the optical solutions today that can so easily be fooled and spoofed. Furthermore, if your finger is wet, or it's oily, or it has any other contaminants on there, the 3D Sonic sensor will read right through that and accurately and quickly read your fingerprint. This is the future of fingerprint technology. Let's look at mobile gaming. For the first time, Over 50% of the revenues for mobile gaming is coming from mobile devices. Now consumers are demanding a much higher quality gaming experience. They want to take that anywhere and be able to play with anyone. So that's why we're introducing the Snapdragon Elite Gaming. It's no longer enough to have a highly tuned GPU. We're bringing a full system of immersion, visuals, and sound. And we're working with multiple top game companies around the world to tune our experience. Users are now demanding a platform that can deliver them cinematic graphics, audio, high performance, and long battery life. The console gaming is now mobile because of the Snapdragon Elite Gaming experience. And last but not least, 5G is truly unlocking all the potential of so many different applications across AI, camera, gaming, XR, and video. It's truly paving a path for very exciting user experiences. But you know what? With 5G and the 855, now you can. Thank you very much for your time. Let me leave you with this video, after which Cristiano will come back out. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. This is the first day, and there's so much more that we're going to have to share tomorrow with the details of the 855. The Snapdragon 855 will once again set the bar for the premium tier and the foundation for smartphones in 2019, and will be the experience the users will have of what 5G technology means for mobility. But we have one more guest, and we save the best for last. We're very, very happy with the progress we're making as an industry, and I'd like to welcome Justin Dennison, SVP of Mobile Product Strategy and Marketing on Samsung Electronics. Thank you, Samsung.
Thank you, and thank you, Cristiano. At Samsung, our primary goal is to help consumers do more of what they love. And part of that is our vision for connected living, where we want to bring together billions of devices seamlessly and intelligently to enrich people's lives and make it easier. This will benefit consumers, communities, industries, and governments. And we believe 5G is fundamental to that. It will be the underlying technology that helps enable this for the future. Because 5G is more than just about 5 bars. Much like the first transatlantic flight changed the pace of how we communicate and collaborate, so will 5G. It will bring together people and ideas like never before. It will be the connective tissue of the fourth industrial revolution, transforming nearly all sectors of the economy and the fabric of society, perhaps as we know it. And with 5G, Samsung will do what we've always done. we will turn radical ideas into real possibilities. Our leadership in 5G is built upon a 35-year heritage of designing and engineering network solutions, and our unique position in participating in nearly all parts of the ecosystem, from networking equipment to the personal devices that people enjoy every day. And our 5G platform is built on 3 core principles: openness, innovation, and security. As we have in the past, we've been first to market in many key technologies, such as the building blocks of 4G. And with our defense-grade NOC security platform, we continue to be a trusted partner of government agencies, industries, and mobile network operators around the world. The same will be true in 5G, where we've already been first to earn FCC approval for commercial 5G products. And we're helping to lead the standards so that the entire industry can have wide-scale deployment of the 5G technology that will transform our lives. Of course, we can't realize this vision of connected living fueled by 5G alone. We continue to work openly with our technology partners and network operator partners around the world to make this happen. For instance, with Verizon, we supported the first 5G commercial broadband service, piloting it earlier this year and then launching in Sacramento and Houston. At AT&T, we've also been named as a key technology supplier for their 5G mobile nationwide network. And we recently announced that we're working with AT&T in our manufacturing facility in Austin, our semiconductor manufacturing facility, as a testbed for 5G innovation. At Sprint, we've worked together to deploy massive MIMO solutions that are 5G ready and expand their existing LTE capacity, giving them an easier path to progression to 5G. And of course, we continue to expand our partnership and collaboration around the world with global partners. For instance, this last weekend, we just announced our support for the first mobile 5G network launch in Korea. Of course, what I'm very excited to talk about today is bringing the power of 5G into the palm of your hand. With Qualcomm and our carrier partners, we're going to bring one of the first 5G smartphones in the US in the first half of 2019. It's powered by the Snapdragon 855 chipset that Alex just told you about. And it will unlock new and exciting use cases like hyper-downloading, hyper-streaming, and other high-quality interactions. So, for instance, we can enable you to make a 5G video call to friends or loved ones across the world with crystal clear picture, nearly flawless audio, and no lag. If, for instance, you're getting ready to board a flight and you just happen to want to download, a year's worth of your favorite streaming show into your device, you can do that as you're walking on the plane instead of remembering to do that hours before at your home before you left. These are just a few of the many use cases that will transform the way people live and interact with the data and information that they love. So I encourage you to visit our exhibition zone, where you'll see an early sample of our first 5G smartphone. And what you'll see there is, for the first time, a 5G device working in a live 5G network. This is significant. Up until now, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen a live environment with a live device operating. This is a key proof point as we build towards deploying mobile 5G technology and putting it in the hands of consumers next year. So as we approach this vision of connected living powered by 5G, life will be transformed. It will change the way that we travel, the way that we work, the way that we interact. It will fundamentally change the experiences in our lives. And like I said before, we couldn't do this without the support of our partners, so I want to thank Qualcomm, Verizon, AT&T, EE, Telstra, and others. There's many, many partners around the world that Samsung's working with to really drive towards our vision of 5G and connected living. And so as we realize this vision, Samsung wants to make it clear the goal of this enterprise is really to help the consumer, you the consumer, do more of the things that you love. So with that, I'll say thank you, and we'll roll the video, which will show a little bit of our manifesto on how we see the future developing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Justin. It's what an honor to have Samsung here at the Qualcomm event. I can't wait to buy this phone when it comes up. I'm already in line. Start moving to WhatsApp. Start moving right now because 5G is coming 2019. Okay, we're getting to the end of our event. And what I would like to say, there's a lot that is happening right now in 5G with a lot of hard work, with a lot of partners to make that reality and create the next decade of innovation in wireless. It's incredible to see how far we have come in just the last year. But what we cover here today is just the beginning. It's just the tip of this iceberg. From healthcare to energy, manufacturing, 5G will power an entire new cycle of innovation. It will enable new business models, new services, new way to engage customers, and it will bring the evolution of artificial intelligence machine learning that will rely on that connectivity with the cloud with very low latency. It will create new revenue streams, improvement in productivity and efficiencies, and will provide the foundation of what is the new wireless edge. It will also lead the creation of whole new industries and services that are yet to be imagined. And we're working across the ecosystem with our many partners to make this possible. Qualcomm has worked relentlessly to drive the development and commercialization of 5G, inventing the many breakthrough technologies that will fuel this area. I know we packed a lot of information this morning. Hopefully you all that excited about 5G as we are, and especially about the Snapdragon 855 that will power the first 5G smartphones. This time, next year, we'll be talking about the amazing services, devices, and experience powered by 5G. And thank you so much for being here. Please enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.